The clash of dreams and reality can ignite the most unexpected connections. In a luxurious hotel, nestled in the heart of the city, Hye-jin, a dedicated employee with sparkling optimism, breathed in the fresh scent of newly polished rooms and bustling energy. The grandeur of her surroundings contrasted sharply with the painful memories of her childhood in an orphanage. With each crisp white uniform donned, she felt the weight of her adoptive father's high expectations pressing down on her, the burden of living up to a success she found daunting. Meanwhile, Nari, a celebrated chef turned CEO, roamed the hotel's corridors, wrestling with a crippling creative block that left him unable to taste the art he once created with ease. The culinary genius who dazzled diners around the world was now tormented by the blandness of his experience, a fate that threatened to consume everything he built. Their lives, so different in ambition and experience, were fated to intersect in a collision that would change them both forever. One evening, while hurrying through the hotel preparing for an event, exhaustion washed over Hye-jin. As she waited for the elevator, her body demanded rest, and she slipped into Nari's room, unwittingly curling up on his couch. Hours later, Nari returned, his irritation flaring at the sight of her. But as he watched her sleep, the softness of her features stirred something within him, muddling the annoyance with an undeniable intrigue. When Hye-jin awoke, confusion painted across her face, the air thick with tension. I'm so sorry," she stammered, shuffling her feet, but Nari stopped her, curiosity igniting a spark. A reluctant conversation unfolded about expectations, pressure, and life choices, cracking the facade of professionalism they both wore. As days passed, their interactions transformed into a blend of wary friendship and mutual admiration. Hye-jin's unconventional problem-solving skills became indispensable during the planning of an important gala. The stakes were high, and when a key vendor pulled out last minute, Hye-jin proposed a new strategy that would highlight the hotel's culinary offerings without relying solely on taste. Nari initially hesitated, clinging to his previous methods, but he found himself compelled by Hye-jin's passionate vision. Working closely together allowed them to break down their guarded walls. They discussed their aspirations, dreams, and their fears during late-night brainstorming sessions, Hye-jin's laughter becoming the antidote to Nari's growing despondency over his culinary identity. Their connection deepened, culminating in a pivotal moment where Nari unexpectedly tasted a dish he thought he could never appreciate again. Hye-jin's bright smile and infectious energy seeped into his life, reminding him what food should mean, not just about flavor, but about joy and connection. As they shared this transformative moment, the air crackled with unspoken feelings, and both stood on the precipice of acknowledging their attachment. Yet, just as vulnerability surfaced, Nari received a call from his family, threatening to derail his newfound enthusiasm. They insisted he focus solely on restoring his culinary empire, prioritizing status over heartfelt creativity. Caught between familial expectations and his desire for authenticity, Nari faltered. Hye-jin, too, faced her own demons, burdened by the unresolved wounds from her past. As Nari closed down emotionally, she felt the emerging distance drive a wedge between them. The day before the gala, she confronted him, revealing her insecurities about never feeling worthy enough for someone as accomplished as he was. "I'm terrified that once the spotlight fades, I'll just be a passing thought for you," she admitted, her voice trembling. Nari's heart ached. He took a step towards her, understanding the weight she carried. "It's not about status, Hye-jin. It's about connection. And you've shown me a side of life that I'd lost," he confessed, their walls crashing down in the raw light of honesty. As the gala approached, tensions boiled over amidst preparations. Conflict erupted when Nari's family uninvited Hye-jin, threatening her place in their world. But rather than retreating into old insecurities, Hye-jin summoned her strength and resolutely attended, determined to take her place alongside Nari amidst the glittering crowd. The night unfolded in exquisite chaos, with Nari's dishes celebrated and Hye-jin's bravery on full display. Just when it seemed they'd lost each other in the clamor, the moment of truth arrived. Nari chose to publicly acknowledge Hye-jin, not just as an employee, but as an equal partner, earning a mix of admiration and disdain from his elite family. As they faced the fallout together, a bitter conflict exposed the flaws in their worlds. But within that tension, hope blossomed like wildflowers breaking through concrete. They embraced the idea that true love weathers storms and does not demand perfection. Walking hand in hand into an uncertain future, they vowed to nurture their connection, committed to overcoming trials, both individual and collective. Each step they took together is a promise to embrace their truths, crafting their own narrative of resilience and affection in a world full of expectations. In the softness of the morning sun, as they glided through the hotel together once again, the past felt just a little less daunting, glimmering with the promise of tomorrow's possibilities. Sometimes, a misunderstanding can open the door to something extraordinary. As the sun dipped below the skyline, casting warm hues over the luxurious hotel, Hye-jin, overwhelmed by her long day, tended to her duties with a sense of purpose. She moved through the elegant corridors lined with plush carpets and golden accents, her heart swelling with gratitude for her job, the first solid opportunity she'd had since growing up in an orphanage. Each piece of laundry she carried symbolized her effort to create a new life, one anchored in stability and hope. Yet, as fatigue washed over her, Hye-jin found a moment's reprieve in Nari's opulent room. Crowning it with soft linens, she sank onto the plush sofa, her eyelids drooping, surrendering to the exhaustion. When Nari returned to his sanctuary after a chaotic day filled with corporate woes, the sight of someone asleep on his couch ignited annoyance. "Who can be so careless?" he muttered under his breath, his brow furrowing. He had built his culinary empire on precision and dedication. The disruption felt like a rip in the fabric of his world, chaotic and unfathomable. But as he stood there, watching Hye-jin's serene expression and the gentle rise and fall of her breath, a perplexing fascination took root. The sincerity in her demeanor sparked a fleeting curiosity within him, prompting him to reconsider his initial irritation. When Hye-jin awoke to find Nari looming over her, her heart raced. She stumbled over her words, trying to convince him that her intrusion was a mistake. But Nari, now intrigued, pressed for more. He couldn't help but probe into her world, a world filled with dreams draped in sincerity amid the harsh realities of life. Each question led to tales of her childhood, her adoptive father's expectations, and aspirations that glimmered in her eyes. For the first time in a long time, Nari felt drawn to someone who reminded him of a simpler path, one that didn't solely pivot around societal expectations and gourmet accolades. As days turned into weeks, the hotel became a canvas for their shared experiences, punctuated by late-night brainstorming sessions and impromptu conversations in empty hallways. Hye-jin discovered ways to innovate services, introducing unique touches that rekindled the hotel's charm. Her audacity and ideas began mesmerizing Nari, stirring something deep within, the urge to taste life beyond the culinary realm where he found solace. Meanwhile, Nari opened up about his struggles with the looming weight of family expectations and the crushing pressure to constantly outperform his own legacy. It was an unexpected revelation, one that changed the dynamic between them as they both navigated the complexities of their ambitions. But just as their bond flourished amidst the swirling excitement of their developing friendship, a sudden twist emerged. During a high-pressure event, a crisis hit when a major ingredient intended for a flagship dish went missing hours before the gala's start. Nari felt panic tighten around him as the stakes soared higher, and the once promising collaboration between himself and Hye-jin seemed to dangle by a thread. Amid the chaos, Hye-jin squeezed his arm and, with determination glittering in her eyes, suggested a last-minute pivot. Their menu could embrace local street food, diversifying their offerings and enchanting guests instead of confining them to a singular high-end experience. Nari hesitated, but the gentle push of her confidence pierced through his uncertainty. With Hye-jin's support, he finally took the plunge, a decision that shone light not just on the immediate problem, but on his growing trust in her instincts. As the event unfolded, the night erupted into vibrant energy, laughter weaving through the halls, and Nari's heart swelled with pride for both their efforts. Here was a fresh starting point and a chance to reintroduce himself, not just to the industry, but to the essence of what it meant to create something meaningful. In the aftermath, amid the applause and celebration, Nari pulled Hyejin aside, gratitude spilling from him. "I couldn't have done this without you," he admitted, his voice thick with emotion. "You remind me that there's more to life than just prestige. I've been blind." Hyejin felt a rush of warmth suffuse her, but beneath that comfort lay the burden of her insecurities. Was she only able to shine through his shadow? Freedom and fear danced together as she realized the lines between love and dependence were blurred. As visibility grew around their budding connection, whispers began to swirl in the hotel. Some celebrated their partnership, while others looked down upon Hyejin for her position. Facing scrutiny, disapproval, and veiled threats sparked a crisis of confidence within her. One evening, in the quiet of a deserted hallway, Hyejin confronted Nari, her vulnerability tearing through the defenses she had built. "What happens when this is over? When your family reclaims you?" she whispered, her heart aching. His silence hung in the air, heavy with unsaid truths. But Nari stepped closer, his gaze steady. "You give me the courage to carve my own path, regardless of what they say. I choose my own definition of success, and you're a part of that journey." That confession lit a spark inside Hyejin, and although uncertainty still lingered, the warmth of his words stoked the fire of hope. As they both navigated the complexities of their worlds, acceptance replaced fear. Hyejin learned to embrace her strengths, while Nari discovered the importance of establishing his identity outside of familial expectations. Together, they forged a partnership where dreams and struggles intertwined, leading them to places neither had anticipated, but both needed. In the evolving dance of their lives, they learned that genuine connections could flourish in the most unexpected places, and as they stood hand in hand, peering into the horizon of uncharted futures, it became clear that while challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, full of promise, laughter, and the undeniable knowledge that their journey was just beginning. A single moment of vulnerability can rewrite the story of a lifetime. The sun dipped low, casting a golden hue in the luxurious hotel where Nari, the perfectionist CEO, spent another long day battling expectations. As a celebrated chef grappling with the return of flavor to his life, he lay exposed to the weight of his family's demands, each dish a representation of unfulfilled potential, overshadowing his culinary ambitions. Meanwhile, Hyejin, the enthusiastic hotel employee, maneuvered through the busy kitchen, juggling linens and orders with an unwavering smile. Behind that facade, however, lay a history riddled with challenges, an orphan seeking acceptance and purpose in an undeniably competitive world. Their interactions began in tension. Nari, still frustrated from their previous encounter, had initially viewed Hyejin's presence as an inconvenience, a disruption to his meticulously planned day. But as each day passed, his irritation slowly transformed into a deep curiosity about her. One afternoon, amid the chaos of preparations for the upcoming gala, Hyejin shared snippets of her story. With every word, she painted a picture of resilience, the struggles to fit into a society that often seemed to favor those with privilege, her adoptive father's unwavering expectations, and the dream of proving herself worthy, even as the world around her filled with seemingly perfect success stories. Nari listened with rapt attention, his defenses beginning to crumple. Feeling a strange kinship with her, he hesitated, but then decided to share his own struggles, a peek behind the curtains of his glamorous facade. "I constantly feel as though I'm not enough," he admitted quietly, raking a hand through his hair. "Everything I do is in fear of disappointing my family in this competitive industry." The vulnerability in his voice surprised them both. In that brief moment of honesty, they discovered not only shared struggles but a foundation on which to build a genuine friendship. As their conversations flowed, Nari found himself drawn to Hyejin's spirit. Her laughter, the way she saw beauty in simple things, and her undying dedication to her work. Amid the souring taste of his unfulfilled dreams, her optimism sparked something familiar yet distant within him. Each reveal coaxed their souls closer, shifting their relationship into the realm of companionship. Yet, the chaotic world around them weighed heavy, and fear of vulnerability tinged all their interactions, a silent dance of what-ifs that loomed over them. One evening at the hotel, however, everything changed. Nari, in a fit of frustration over an intricate menu planning, lashed out at a young cook, venting his exasperation until he noticed Hyejin observing from the corner of the kitchen. Her eyes were wide, filled with a mix of disappointment and concern. Immediately, the awkwardness hung thick in the air, and as she approached him later, he braced himself for another critical conversation. But instead of scolding, Hyejin spoke softly. "You're human too, Nari. It's okay to feel lost, but losing your passion is not the answer." Her determination rushed through him like a bomb, igniting a sense of urgency for change. They spoke long into the night, molding a plan that could intertwine Nari's culinary skills with Hyejin's unique touch for creativity, aiming to make the gala more than a showcase of elite excess. "What if we showcased local flavors instead of just high-end dishes?" she suggested. "Let's celebrate the diversity of the city, introduce those tastes to our guests." Nari felt a flicker of hope blossom inside him, spurred by Hyejin's contagious enthusiasm. Summoned to make decisions, he gripped the edge of the counter, internally battling the fear bred by his family's expectations. Ultimately, he made the call. They would implement Hyejin's proposal. The pivotal moment crystallized their growth. Confronting their vulnerabilities had now transformed into a collaborative effort, one that sang melodies of newfound trust and mutual respect. As the gala night approached, excitement swirled through the hotel while lingering doubts still haunted Nari. Would his family embrace his unorthodox choices? In the midst of a bustling event, he spotted them scanning the room, their discerning eyes assessing everything. His heart pounded in his chest. He turned to Hyejin, feeling the weight of possibility. "What if they don't understand?" he asked, raw uncertainty evident in his voice. "They will," Hyejin reassured him gently, squeezing his arm, the warmth electrifying his skin. "You're finally expressing who you are." Nari took a breath, stepping onto the stage with Hyejin by his side. Together they unveiled their unique menu, and when the dishes were served, the guests couldn't help but be intrigued. Laughter bubbled up around the room as flavors mingled with memories, transporting diners into a world where history met creativity in every bite. But as the applause settled into the night, the aftermath weighed heavily. While Nari celebrated their success, he caught the still disapproving gaze of his family, disappointment etched into their faces. In that moment, the stakes felt higher than ever. Nari realized he had opened his heart and honored his passion, but understood the battle was far from over. With Hyejin beside him amid the swirling emotions, he sensed an undercurrent of determination to embrace who he had become, fortified by his budding relationship with her. As they exchanged glances that spoke volumes, both knew the pathway ahead would not be without obstacles, uncertainties lingering in the shadows. Yet in the midst of it all, they found comfort in a newfound companionship, embracing their stories as intertwined fates, full of promise, desires unbound, and the undeniable prospect of shared dreams gleaming brightly before them. Sometimes, losing a sense can lead to discovering a greater one. In the grandeur of the lavish hotel, lights twinkled like stars against a backdrop of soft music and laughter. Yet Nari felt adrift in a sea of noise. Despite the luxury surrounding him, he was burdened by an inexplicable inability to taste the dishes he once crafted with passion and artistry, a cruel twist for the esteemed chef and CEO. As the hotel prepared for its most important gala, his frustration simmered beneath the surface, threatening to eclipse the joy around him. Hyejin, his dedicated colleague, marveled at the glittering setting, each vividly colored arrangement whispering the potential for the night. However, she couldn't shake the feeling of enthusiasm, masking her own nagging doubts. Would her efforts be enough to gain the approval of her adoptive father, a man whose expectations loomed large in her life like the towering hotel itself? As the date of the gala loomed, it became clear that Nari's condition was dire. As he paced through the kitchen, a whirlwind of anxiety, Hyejin, sensing the urgency, stepped forward. "Let me help," she offered, her voice steady amidst the tension. "We can brainstorm ideas together." Although uncertainty flickered in Nari's eyes, he grudgingly agreed. The pressure of the hotel's future lay heavy on his shoulders. Relinquishing control terrified him. However, as they began to collaborate, Hyejin's creativity sparked fresh hope. With each innovative idea she proposed, from local flavors to visually stunning presentations, Nari felt the walls around him slowly crumble. Amidst the chaos of preparations, Hyejin guided him to trust her instincts. She understood the weight of his family's legacy. Her own struggles in carving out her identity echoed his dilemmas. Each time Hyejin shared her experiences, Nari unearthed a flicker of inspiration within himself. Their discussions turned into moments filled with excitement and laughter, the initial tension melting into a camaraderie neither had anticipated. Yet, just as their partnership blossomed, Hyejin's own insecurities resurfaced. Was her input merely a fleeting spark to Nari's shadowed existence, or could she truly contribute to something greater? On the night of the gala, the atmosphere thrummed with anticipation. Hyejin moved gracefully among the crowd, effortlessly balancing her responsibilities. The vibrant decorations were her vision come to life. Yet a nagging fear gripped her each time she caught sight of Nari on stage, his demeanor still stiff, each smile not entirely reaching his eyes. This was to be a moment of showcasing not just the hotel, but Nari himself. And as the dishes were prepared, she saw him spiraling once more into self-doubt. As they unveiled the menu, showcasing Hyejin's inspired concept of vibrant local dishes, Nari felt an unexpected wave of anxiety wash over him. Would the guests embrace what they had created together? Would his family's expectations suffocate their hard work? His heart raced with uncertainty. But as he looked at Hyejin, her genuine passion ignited something within him. A flicker of courage that pushed him to step forward. "Tonight isn't just about what you think everyone expects," Hyejin said, her voice a soothing balm amidst a cauldron of nerves. "It's about sharing who we are and what we believe in, together." Nari's gaze locked onto hers, the warmth of her conviction wrapping around him like a lifeline. In a sudden shift during the main course presentation, the unexpected happened. A guest raised their hand, eyes alight with excitement, and exclaimed, "This dish reminds me of my childhood." The echoes of laughter and reminiscence spread across the room. Nari, witnessing the unanticipated joy their creations brought to the guests, felt an awakening ignite within him. The flavors, though he could not personally experience them, resonated with memories he had nearly forgotten, an affirmation of the journey that brought him here. As the evening drew to a close, the applause was deafening, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. But behind the triumphant smiles lingered unspoken feelings. Hyejin watched Nari's eyes glisten with unexplainable emotions, a mixture of relief and lingering doubts about where they stood in this whirlwind of success. In the aftermath, amidst the fading music and excited chatter, Nari turned to Hyejin, vulnerability etched across his face. "I couldn't have done this without you," he confessed, his voice cracking with unshed emotion. "You made me remember what it means to create without fear." Hyejin, her heart pounding, felt a connection blossom, a partnership rooted deep in the challenges they had faced together. But she hesitated, caught between the moment's closeness and her own fears of inadequacy. As they left the venue, the glow of the evening lingered. Hyejin, emboldened by Nari's words, stepped closer. "You taught me to embrace my ideas and fight for my voice, Nari. Perhaps we can continue this journey, together." Nari's eyes held a mixture of hope and uncertainty, but a tentative smile broke free. In that moment, standing amidst the remnants of their grand success, something pivotal shifted. They both felt ready to embrace the challenges still ahead, ready to forge paths marked not just by success but by authenticity and growth. The road would not be easy. Future obstacles awaited, but with every shared struggle, they discovered the power of their connection. And as they walked away from the dazzling night, the realization dawned upon them. They were stronger together. A partnership built on resilience, creativity, and the promise to nurture not only their ambitions but each other's vulnerabilities. In the world of high stakes, a single misstep can unravel everything. As the gala loomed closer, excitement buzzed through the luxurious hotel, but for Hyejin and Nari, the atmosphere thickened with pressure. This event wasn't just another night. It held the future of the hotel in its grasp. Nari had been grappling with his inability to enjoy the very cuisine he once created, and now, depending on Hyejin's innovative ideas, felt like navigating an unfamiliar path. Hyejin, embodying an unwavering spirit of resilience, had motivated not only the staff, but also herself, to channel her efforts into making the gala a dazzling success. With her careful eye for detail and vibrant ideas, she infused fresh life into their collective vision. However, just when they felt they were finally gaining momentum, disaster struck. A crucial vendor responsible for the decorations contacted them with news that sent panic rippling through their preparations, a sudden cancellation. The air filled with disbelief as Nari clenched his jaw, frustration welling inside him. "This can't be happening," he muttered, pacing the room like a caged tiger, the chaos echoing through his veins. The reputation of the hotel hinged on that night, and losing a key vendor seemed disastrous. Hyejin felt the tension crackle around them. The hard work they'd poured into this night could slip through their fingers. But amid this turmoil, something inside her sparked. With quick thinking and an indomitable spirit, Hyejin took charge. "We can't let this ruin everything we've worked for," she declared, a fire igniting in her eyes. "Let me rally the staff. We can create a new theme altogether." Nari hesitated, torn between wanting to maintain control and the burgeoning admiration he felt for Hyejin's determination. Yet as she deftly organized the chaos, reaching out to other vendors and mobilizing the team, he couldn't help but watch in awe. "Everyone, I know this is unexpected," Hyejin addressed the flustered staff, her voice steady like a lighthouse in the storm. "Let's brainstorm together. Each of your ideas is valuable." As they bounced creative concepts back and forth, Nari observed how she invited everyone into the fold, her charisma igniting innovation in those around her. His heart swelled with admiration, feeling that perhaps he was not the only one who could inspire. Hyejin was a force of nature in her own right. Suddenly, an idea sparked in the room. Local artisans and community elements could replace the missing vendor's contribution, transforming the event into a celebration of local culture and talent. Excitement surged through the air like electricity, and Nari felt a wave of relief wash over him. As he joined Hyejin and the team, the initial resentment within melted away. They traded glances filled with understanding and unspoken connection, both realizing that they were stronger together. The days leading up to the gala transformed into a whirlwind of collaboration. Hyejin wove together visual themes while enlisting local artists to showcase their work throughout the venue. Nari, channeling his expertise, worked closely with the culinary staff, ensuring that the menu reflected the new direction while retaining the standard of excellence he held dear. As the final hour approached, Hyejin found herself furtively glancing at Nari during their final preparations. He was no longer just her boss, but a partner in every sense, a breathtaking synergy unfolding between them with every challenge they overcame. Their banter became lighter, laughter ringing through the busy halls, an unintentional dance of budding emotion surfacing amidst the stakes of their collaboration. When the night finally arrived, everything sparkled under the soft glow of lights. Guests marveled at the stunning decor and the vibrant atmosphere crafted from sheer teamwork, celebration of local artistry, and creativity that coursed through the venue. They were all treated to a culinary journey that paid homage to tradition, yet embraced a fresh perspective. Hyejin stood back among the crowd, her heart racing as she took in the sight of Nari mingling with guests. his smile genuine and free from the weight that had previously anchored him. But as the evening progressed into joy and accolades, a familiar shadow approached, Nari's family. Their harsh gaze cut through the celebratory atmosphere, their disapproval palpable. Hyejin's heart sank, aware of the looming pressure that threatened to overshadow their triumph. But she also sensed Nari's shifting energy. He stood taller, emboldened by the success they had forged together. "Can you see what we've created?" Nari boldly addressed them, his voice steady. "This gala isn't just an event. It's a testament to what innovation can achieve." Hyejin, buoyed by his courage, stepped beside him, her heart swelling with pride and affection. The strength they had found in each other resonated in that one moment, intertwining their destinies amid uncertainty. Watching the guests embrace the evening's vibrancy and sheer delight, Nari turned to Hyejin, a whispered promise lingering in the air. "Thank you for believing in us, believing in me." In that moment, they both understood that the path ahead would be filled with challenges and victories, but they could embrace them together, emboldened by their growing connection. Hyejin's laughter rang true through the chaos, allowing them to step forward side by side, ready to face whatever ventured into their horizon. Together they had discovered not only the beauty of collaboration but the strength of their partnership, setting them on a course replete with hope and a shared sense of purpose. Sometimes healing comes from the most unexpected connections. In the bustling heart of the city, the luxurious hotel pulsed with energy as Hyejin and Nari prepared for the upcoming gala. Even amidst the glamour and excitement, Nari felt an overwhelming weight on his shoulders. His renowned culinary passion lay dormant, a frustrating silence nested where once vibrant flavors danced. Hyejin, on the other hand, embodied vivacity. Her tireless work ethic and infectious spirit brightened the otherwise stern atmosphere that often engulfed Nari. She floated through the crowd, radiating enthusiasm, a spark he didn't know he desperately needed. As days melted into nights leading up to the event, Nari began to watch Hyejin with newfound admiration. Initially, he viewed her as merely a dedicated employee, someone who complemented his vision. However, her warmth broke through his walls, transforming his perspective. He saw beyond her professional demeanor. She was a beacon of hope in his bleak existence, a reminder of the joy that once fueled his creativity. During meetings filled with tension, Hyejin's laughter cut through the noise, and with it, a flicker of nostalgia stirred within him for the passion he thought lost forever. However, tension simmered just beneath the surface. While Nari admired Hyejin's tenacity, he was also afraid of what her influence might mean for him. This emotional turmoil churned within him as he fought against the desire to confide in her about his struggles. Being vulnerable was a battle he had never faced willingly. The weight of expectations from his family and colleagues weighed heavily, shackling him to his guarded identity. Yet, the more he witnessed Hyejin's unwavering dedication, the clearer it became. He didn't want to remain in this self-imposed isolation. One evening, as they worked late to finalize the gala details, a moment of honesty unfolded. After a long day, Hyejin wiped her brow, her voice suddenly quiet, revealing a sliver of vulnerability. "Sometimes, I wonder if I'll ever be enough for my father. I just want him to see the person I've become, not just the orphan he took in." Her admission hung in the air like a stillness before a storm. Nari felt a pang of recognition. Their struggles were interwoven, though they seemed worlds apart. "I understand that feeling," Nari replied, astonished by the tremor in his voice. "I constantly feel I'm never enough either, trapped under the weight of my family's expectations." The words spilled from him, surprising them both. It was a catalyst, igniting a shift in their relationship. Hyejin stepped closer, the space between them shrinking, their shared vulnerabilities intertwining. She saw in Nari not just the figure trapped by tradition, but a human struggling against the tide. "We can't be defined by what others think of us," she encouraged gently. Her eyes locked onto his. In that moment, walls crumbled, Nari began to search for the hope that flickered within Hyejin, but had been hidden deep within himself. As the gala approached, circumstances took an unexpected turn when a critical vendor backed out at the last minute. Panic swept through the hotel as Nari and Hyejin faced a potential disaster that threatened to unravel the progress they'd made. Nari felt the familiar tendrils of anxiety coiling around him, but Hyejin, fueled by determination, rallied the staff. "This is our chance to show who we truly are. Let's not just hold an event, let's create an experience." Intrigued by her fearless enthusiasm, Nari found himself drawn to her. He began to shed the layers of detachment he had wrapped around himself, his heart swelling with admiration as they worked seamlessly alongside each other. The realization struck him like a bolt of lightning. He was rooting for her, truly invested in her success, while simultaneously discovering fragments of himself he feared were gone forever. The night of the gala arrived, a swirling mix of colors and emotions. As the evening unfolded, Nari watched guests marvel at what they had collectively built, a masterpiece infused with Hyejin's spirit, resilience, and creativity. That evening, flavors burst to life on the plates. Amidst the applause, Nari discovered a taste that ignited his dormant passion, awakening something he thought he'd lost. But in the glowing success of the night, doubts still crept in. He spotted his family's critical stares and felt the pressure suffocate him. Catching Hyejin's eye across the room, she mirrored his anxiety, but also a profound understanding. Steeling himself, Nari stepped forward to confront his family, a newfound confidence propelling him. "This isn't just about legacy. It's about what I create, who I choose to uplift," he stated fiercely. And for the first time, it felt like truth. Hyejin joined him, that electric connection kneading through the air. "We've built something beautiful together," she added, her voice steady like a lighthouse guiding lost ships home. In that moment of vulnerability, Nari felt the grip of that familiar weight diminish. They stood united against the fears that had haunted them for too long. The evening concluded with laughter, joy, and the promise of transformation. Leaving the gala, Hyejin turned to Nari, her gaze bright and unwavering. "You've awakened something in me as well. Together we can embrace whatever comes next." With hearts unguarded, Nari realized they held the threads of something profound between them. Their journey into self-discovery and acceptance was only beginning, igniting hope for the future ahead, together. The night had changed everything, not just for the gala, but for the paths they were forging, and the connection blossoming beautifully in the face of challenge. Sometimes the past won't let go without a fight. Hyejin stood in the vibrant hotel kitchen, the smell of spices swirling around her. Yet her heart felt heavy. The preparations for the gala soared around her, filled with laughter and excitement, but hidden beneath her smile lurked shadows of a painful breakup that had left her walls fortified and her heart guarded. Memories of betrayal intertwined with her daily life, making her hesitate to trust again, especially when it came to human connections. Nari, the enigmatic chef and CEO, had become a constant presence in her world, his gentle support and quiet understanding beckoning her to lean in. But her past whispered warnings into her heart. Days turned into nights as they prepared for the gala, moments shared between them weaving tighter, like a tapestry. As Nari unwrapped each layer of expectation tangled around him, Hyejin felt that familiar tug of connection. His encouragement seemed to chip away at her defenses, though the pang of doubt often surfaced. She recalled how he had listened to her during those late-night briefing sessions, his eyes warm and attentive, and she would find herself laughing. Yet each laugh weighed heavier with the fear of falling into old patterns of hurt. One evening, while organizing the event logistics, Hyejin's laughter faded as she noticed Nari struggling with the pressure of high expectations. "You don't need to carry this alone," she offered tentatively, barely holding eye contact. Yet her vulnerability resonated deeply. Perhaps, in his stress, he could see pieces of her own struggle. As they talked through their fears, her heart quickened, daring to hope for a spark of connection beyond their professional facade. "Sometimes, I feel like I'm not real," Nari admitted, furrowing his brow. I'm just what everyone else wants me to be. Hyejin, captivated by his honesty, saw the loneliness behind his eyes, the very same loneliness that gnawed at her. She was drowning in her own fears, but here was someone who understood. I get the feeling. It's hard to open up, especially after things go wrong, she shared, her voice soft like a caress, revealing the scars of past wounds. In that shared admission, their walls began to lower, an uncharted territory of mutual understanding blossoming between them. Amidst the unfolding connection, an unforeseen challenge materialized. A sudden surge of doubt from the upper management questioned Nari's leadership decisions regarding the gala. They scrutinized his choice of focusing on local artisans, and the waves of disapproval crashed over him, dousing the spark he had begun to reclaim. In that heavy moment, Hyejin felt a pulse of panic. She couldn't bear to see him crushed like this. She grabbed his arm gently, desperation swirling within her. Nari, this gala is a reflection of who you are. Stick to your vision. It can change everything. Her words carried the weight of her own choices, the courage she had slowly been cultivating through their bond. It was as if they had exchanged spirits for a moment, and Nari, inspired by her tenacity, felt the urgency within to fight back. Taking a deep breath, he faced the boardroom with renewed purpose. This event isn't just another business function, it's our chance to articulate our identity, he asserted, reflecting on the emotional shields they both bore. Hyejin's encouragement lingered in his heart as he found his voice, and it resonated among his peers. The meeting concluded with a tentative acceptance of his vision, the tension crackling in the air but lightened by a glimmer of possibility. As preparations for the gala reached a fever pitch, Hyejin's heart raced not only with anticipation but with fear. What if it all crumbled like her past had? But Nari's presence wrapped around her like a lifeline, and she discovered strength within. The night unfolded, illuminated by the warmth of human connection, the laughter, the flavors, and art now displayed with a bang. On that exhilarating night, amidst a whirlwind of guests appreciating the fusion of culture and creativity woven throughout the event, Hyejin felt something shift inside her. She had spent so long wrapped in the ghosts of her past that to finally feel free was intoxicating. Nari's gaze met hers from across the room, a silent acknowledgement igniting between them, as if they alone carried the echoes of their journeys. With each cheer from their guests, Hyejin took a leap of faith that sent delightful shivers through her, small acts of trust enveloping her heart, step by step. As she approached Nari, the newfound connection pulsated in the space between them. "We did it together," she said, breathless and wide-eyed. Nari smiled, anchoring the moment with sincerity. "You believed in me when I couldn't even see it myself," he replied, the honesty wrapping around her heart like a warm embrace. Vulnerability etched, reflecting offering a glimpse into, yet a lingering shadow hovered as the Nari's family, Hyejin, held. Whatever challenge awaited, they had both grown on this journey, entwined now by a thread stronger than the fears that used to separate them. As the gala faded into history, so did the doubts that had weighed heavy on their shoulders, replaced by a gentle but profound connection. Together, they had unwound the echoes of their painful pasts, laying the groundwork for something beautiful, uncharted, an undeniable romance waiting to flourish amidst the uncertainties of tomorrow. They may not have had all the answers yet, but hand in hand, they felt ready to explore the depths of their shared heart, a journey built on trust, healing, and the power of human. A single moment can revive a lifeless. The gala buzzed with laughter and the clinking of glasses, an atmosphere charged with anticipation and excitement pulsing through the opulent hotel. Nari stood at the edge of the bustling crowd, half listening to the conversation swirling around him, but his heart felt like a silent void. Despite the vibrant scene, he found himself trapped in the shadows, all sensory experiences dulled by his inability to taste the dishes that defined his identity as a chef. He was a culinary wizard held captive by silence, longing desperately for a taste that could reignite his passion. As the evening unfolded, Hyejin flitted around the gala, a whirlwind of energy and grace. Her smile lit the room, and Nari couldn't help but admire her from a distance, her laughter a soothing balm to his turbulent thoughts. Encouraged by her unyielding spirit, he began to feel a stirring of hope, something he thought impossible for a man swathed in despair. Hyejin took charge of the event with a natural flair, her innovative ideas blossoming into a feast for the senses. Nari watched as guests reveled in her creations, their enjoyment feeding into her enthusiasm, and he felt a flicker of something he hadn't experienced in a long time, a hint of inspiration. Then came a moment that changed everything. As Hyejin unveiled a dish she had crafted in collaboration with Nari, she encouraged him to join her on stage to introduce it. The air crackled with excitement. With trembling hands, he accepted the invitation and stepped into the spotlight. As he took in the vibrant aromas wafting through the crowd, something deep within him stirred. A suppressed memory resurfaced, awakening emotions buried beneath layers of insecurity and doubt. He caught Hyejin's eye, her confidence sparking something dormant inside him. "Tonight, this dish represents more than just flavors," he began, his voice steadying as he spoke into the crowd. "It's about the community, the people who inspire us. It's about carrying hope into every creation, something I lost for a while." Nari felt the weight of sincerity in his words, and the murmurs of the guests began to fade into the background as he concentrated on the warmth radiating from Hyejin's presence. It was a life force, igniting every fragment of his being. As their voices intertwined, Nari bravely took a bite of the dish they had created together and was instantly swept away. The flavors erupted like a forgotten symphony, flooding him with nostalgia and warmth, transporting him to a moment in his childhood that he had almost forgotten. The kitchen filled with light, the laughter of his family, the joy of cooking together. A wave of emotions crashed over him, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, he truly tasted the love and life that had once motivated him. Tears threatened to spill as cherished memories washed over him, intertwining with the newfound inspiration bubbling up from within. Turning to Hyejin, he noticed her expression mirrored his own, filled with empathy as she recognized the transformation taking place. Their connection felt electric, transcending their previous professional boundaries. She stepped closer, a reassuring presence beside him. "This is just the beginning for you," she whispered, and in that moment, he realized how integral Hyejin had become to his path of recovery. She had nurtured in him a self-belief that he could create, share, and embrace life again without remorse. Surrounded by laughter and applause, Nari understood that Hyejin's unwavering support had allowed him to confront his demons. She had helped him weave together the broken threads of his past. In the midst of this gala, where light met shadow, he felt his heart open, both to memories and to her. Yet just as he began to accept this growing bond, a nagging doubt crept in. What if he failed her too? What if this was all just a fleeting moment? As the evening progressed, he found himself stealing glances at her, noticing how she shone under the moonlight streaming through the expansive windows. Her joy permeated the atmosphere, and Nari's heart raced at the thought of what could blossom between them, if only he let go of the fears that lingered at the edge of his consciousness. As the gala drew to a close, the guests began to disperse, and the jubilant atmosphere waned. Hyejin pulled Nari aside, the warmth of her presence wrapping around him like a familiar embrace. "You did it, Nari. You opened up," she said, her voice bright, yet tinged with concern. "I saw the way you embraced the flavors, the joy. I'm proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you," he replied, his gaze locking onto hers, vulnerability shining through the remnants of his reservations. "You've brought back colors I thought were lost forever." In that tender moment, the boundary between them shattered, giving way to a shared understanding forged in the fires of vulnerability. As Nari took her hand, he felt a warmth, a possibility, a hope resounding not just for his culinary future, but for the budding relationship that stretched before them like a blank canvas. With the echoes of the night still humming around them, they took the first steps into a new chapter, hand in hand, ready to face the challenges and rewards that lay ahead. Two souls intertwining in a journey of healing, discovery, and love. Love can blossom in the most unexpected places, but it often comes with a price. Hyejin stood at the edge of the bustling terrace, the vibrant city lights twinkling between the tall buildings like scattered stars. The gala was a resounding success, yet a new kind of tension hung between her and Nari, the charismatic chef who had reignited her spirit. Despite the thrill of their connection, shadows from their respective pasts threatened to eclipse their budding romance. While Hyejin had grown accustomed to emotional upheaval during her childhood, Nari's world was one of elite expectations, a landscape filled with ambition and pressure. As they slipped deeper into their relationship, Hyejin began to notice the whispers trailing behind Nari like ghosts, his family's relentless demands pulling at the threads of their bond. "You know you need to focus on your career, right?" his mother had said with a knowing look. Each word weighted with unvoiced expectations. What would your father think? The implications lingered like an uninvited guest, raising doubts in Nari's mind. Meanwhile, Hyejin wrestled with her insecurities. The fear of rejection gnawed at her, memories of a past love gone awry replaying in her mind like a haunting melody. One afternoon, Nari invited Hyejin to his family's estate under the guise of dinner, each moment filling her with anticipation, yet mounting anxiety. As they drove through the gates of the sprawling estate, the sheer opulence made Hyejin feel painfully small. Dressed in designer clothes and adorned with the weight of family reputation, Nari's relatives were a stark contrast to her humble background. She could see the pressure radiating from him like heat waves. The evening of mingling was a dance of elegance and pretense, every laugh recorded, every gesture observed. Nari introduced Hyejin with pride, but she could feel the disapproval coursing through his relatives' gazes. "And what is it you do, dear?" one of the aunts inquired. A disingenuous smile plastered on her face. Hyejin hesitated, the weight of her insecurities tightening around her throat like a vice as she stammered an answer about her work at the hotel. As laughter and chatter filled the room, it was astounding how quickly the warmth she had felt with Nari dissipated. Every word exchanged about her background felt like a judgment, a recognition of her less privileged upbringing. When their eyes met across the crowded room, she saw anxiety clouding Nari's features, and in that instant, she made a decision. She would no longer let the fears of others dictate her worth. "Can we talk?" she asked him softly, pulling him aside to a quiet balcony. The night air was fresh with a hint of spring, but Hyejin's heart raced. "I know this world is difficult for both of us, but I can't be part of something that isn't real. I need you to choose me, Nari. Not just in front of your family." A raw wave of vulnerability spilled from her, her resilience shining through her frustrations. Silence enveloped him as he considered her words. "You don't know how hard it is for me," he finally said, his voice thick with emotion. "My family, they want you to be someone you're not," Hyejin urged gently, placing a reassuring hand over his. "And if you let that happen, you'll lose everything. The passion you have for cooking, for life, for us." Her words sank into Nari's heart like a weight lifted. He realized he was standing at a precipice, staring down the fears of his upbringing while grappling with the realization of what he truly wanted. "I don't want to lose you," he admitted, the truth weighing heavily in the air around them. But the tension didn't dissolve entirely. As a gracious hostess, Nari's mother sought to introduce him to potential suitors among their friends, a statement merely dripping with pressure. After a day of feeling suffocated by expectations, Nari felt the tide of despair creeping in. Hyejin noticed his distress, but instead of retreating, she stepped closer. "Find your voice, Nari," she encouraged. "You are not defined by your family or their choices." The next day, Nari scheduled a family meeting, deciding to lay the truth bare, to confront the unyielding pressure head-on. Heart pounding, Hyejin waited in silence, wondering if he would hold strong against the currents of expectation. Ultimately, he stood before them, assertive and resolute. "I want to follow my own path, not the one you've mapped out for me. Hyejin matters to me, and I'm not ashamed of that. As the murmurs of surprise and confusion echoed through his family, the firm ground beneath him felt simultaneously frightening and liberating. Hyejin felt tears prick at her eyes, a mixture of love and admiration swelling within her. The moment felt monumental, not just for Nari but for their relationship, each step toward independence weaving them together further. However, their comfort came with provisional acceptance. Nari's family had reservations but respected his decision, understanding the weight of his love for Hyejin. Yet while he thought he'd shackled the external pressures, the internal struggles within Hyejin remained. One quiet evening as they strolled through the city, Hyejin took a breath, the atmosphere thick with possibility. What if I disappoint you? What if I'm not enough? Vulnerability wrapped around her voice, tugging on Nari's heartstrings. He stopped, turning to face her fully. You're everything I've needed in my life, Hyejin. You're not just enough. You're more than I ever thought I would find. With those words, a thread of hope shimmered in the late evening light. But even amid reassurance, the healing journey was still an uphill battle. They both understood that their love, though growing, had to navigate through individual uncertainties. Past insecurities and family expectations would occasionally loom large, but that didn't diminish the magic they had found together. As night enveloped the city, the bright lights reflected a new beginning, a testament to their resilience and growth. They marched forward, hand in hand, ready to face whatever challenges awaited, knowing that love, though complex and fraught with challenges, was ultimately a path worth pursuing. Love can shatter glass ceilings, but can also shatter hearts. It was an evening filled with tension, elegant chandeliers casting a soft light over the dining room of Nari's family estate. The exquisite table was set for a dinner that promised to be more than just a meal. It was a stage for family expectations and unspoken judgments. Hyejin, seated with Nari at the head of the table, could feel the weight of scrutiny gnawing at her. Despite the warmth of the atmosphere, she sensed the undercurrents of disapproval flowing from Nari's family, whose expectations hung thick in the air. Nari had invited her under the pretense of discussing the future, yet it was clear that his family viewed this dinner as an opportunity to assess Hyejin's suitability as a partner. While she was determined to make a good impression, whispers of doubt began to creep into her mind, dredging up memories of her painful past. Would she always be seen as the outsider? Did her humble beginnings overshadow everything that made her worthy? As the evening progressed, tension mounted like the steam rising from the delicate soup served. Nari's father, a formidable figure, steered the conversation toward Nari's career, subtly hinting that success should come through unyielding dedication. I trust you understand, Hyejin, that a man like Nari must prioritize his responsibilities, he said, his authoritative gaze resting on her. Hyejin bit her lip, fighting the urge to defend herself. This was not a battle she wanted to engage in at the family dinner. The atmosphere shifted as the main course arrived. Nari, feeling the pressure of his family's expectations, grew noticeably tense, and Hyejin placed a hand on his arm, seeking to ground him in the moment. "We're doing our best," she whispered softly. Nari smiled faintly at the encouragement, but was acutely aware of his family's eyes darting between them, judging and critiquing. Just then, a cousin chimed in, throwing out a seemingly innocuous question. "So, Hyejin, what do you do besides working at the hotel?" Her tone, dripping with condescension, sent a flush through Hyejin's cheeks. She sighed quietly, straightening her back and preparing to gracefully answer the query. "I focus on event planning and helping local businesses showcase their talents through collaboration," she replied, her voice steady despite her racing heart. But the question wasn't merely a curiosity. The cousin's words were an invitation to reveal hierarchy hidden under politeness, echoing the ethos of privilege that pervaded the table. Nari's family was not simply assessing her as a partner. They were determining if she fit within their elite societal circle. As dessert was served, and the tension hung like thick fog, Nari's brother raised a brow, echoing an unspoken challenge. "You know, Nari, your mother has been hoping you'd settle down with someone who understands the family business." You wouldn't want to jeopardize your future with such unconventional choices. The words felt like daggers, and Hyejin could see the gears turning in Nari's mind, fueled by the frustrations of unfulfilled expectations. Feeling her defenses rise, Hyejin finally mustered the courage to speak up. You seem to have very strong opinions on what is considered conventional in a partner. But shouldn't it be about love and mutual respect? Her voice was calm, yet inside she felt turmoil, a blend of anger and fear, bubbling just beneath the surface. Silence descended upon the table. Nari's gaze shifted between Hyejin and his family, swallowing hard as he registered the discomfort surrounding them. Hyejin is right, he spoke, his voice firm yet filled with conflict. If love depends on fitting a mold instead of celebrating individuality, is it worth pursuing at all? The table was now a battlefield, hearts laid bare under the scrutiny of their silence. The air crackled with tension as the impact of his words landed heavily around them. Hyejin felt the sting of realization wash over her. This was the moment where choices rippled through their lives, where they would either sink under family expectations or swim toward a shared horizon. Nari was teetering on the edge of reclaiming his voice, but it meant confronting the weight of family loyalty. In the aftermath of that charged exchange, Hyejin summoned every ounce of her inner strength. "What do you want, Nari?" she asked, meeting his eyes. The question rang clear in the silence that filled the room, taunting him to reveal his heart's desire. A pause stretched between them, thick with anticipation. "I want to be true to myself and to you," he confessed, and a flicker of hope ignited in Hyejin's chest. Nari reached across the table, taking her hand in his. But the world they lived in loomed large, and Hyejin felt torn. Would she allow herself to fall fully into this relationship, knowing the scrutiny they would face together? As dinner concluded, and the family prepared to leave the table, Hyejin stood her ground. "We both deserve to feel like our true selves in this relationship, no matter what anyone thinks," she declared, her heart pounding, the echo of her words washing over them both. She felt the strength of her convictions unfold, a decision to embrace vulnerability even amidst the chaos of expectations. While the weight of societal pressures lingered, she realized this moment of truth could pave the way for their future. Nari, with newfound determination buoyed by her courage, nodded in agreement as a reassuring smile broke across his face. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, marred by challenges and judgments. But they stood firm, ready to navigate the complexities together, united by a love that sought authenticity amidst chaos. In that charged atmosphere of uncertainty, they felt the raw beginnings of hope, an opportunity to challenge the barriers that threatened to define them. Hyejin and Nari chose to face the tumult together, each step weaving a deeper connection, one that might just withstand the forces attempting to tear them apart. Sometimes, love needs space to grow amidst the chaos. In the stillness of a bright morning after the emotional tempest of the dinner at the estate, Hyejin found herself walking through the park, her thoughts swirling like autumn leaves in the crisp air. The weight of her turbulent relationship with Nari lingered in her heart, a blend of longing and uncertainty. Their recent confrontation had left raw wounds. Society had placed them in a tumultuous spotlight, laying their insecurities bare. The emotional distance felt both necessary and unbearable. While Hyejin aimed to channel her sorrow into growth, Nari submerged himself in the world of culinary creation. Each knife stroke in the kitchen became a cathartic release, reflecting his inner state. Yet, even the intoxicating aromas failed to drown out the thoughts of Hyejin, whose unwavering support had reignited his passion for cooking. The night of the gala, the taste of passion restored his belief in himself, and now he sought to honor that renewed energy through a new culinary concept. But the lingering questions kept him awake. Was it enough to create alone? And could he risk exposing his heart to her again? Days turned into weeks, where silence carried the weight of unspoken feelings. Hyejin had begun a project to uplift orphaned children, channeling her energies into something meaningful that echoed her own past. She organized workshops and events, hoping to guide those kids toward a brighter future, knowing all too well the struggles of feeling undeserving. Each time she saw the joy lighten their faces, her heart would swell, but shadows of her vulnerabilities crept back too. What if she failed them, just as she feared failing Nari? Nari, meanwhile, created a menu that would celebrate the essence of community. His heart poured into every dish, inspired by Hyejin's optimism and resilience. Each ingredient spoke of hope and connection, a reflection of the themes he wished to embrace moving forward. Yet a nagging doubt still gnawed at him. Could he truly bridge the gap between their worlds and find a path back to Hyejin? On a rainy afternoon, fate intervened when Hyejin and Nari found themselves attending an art exhibit, showcasing local talent, each piece capturing the struggles and triumphs of community life. There, amid intricate brushstrokes and vibrant colors, they inadvertently crossed paths, electric tension igniting in the air around them. Hyejin was drawn to a mural painted by the children she worked with, while Nari admired the passion depicted in the artwork. His heart raced at the sight of Hyejin, busy explaining a detail to another observer. As their eyes met across the room, time seemed to suspend. Hyejin felt the pull of connection, urging her to step forward, but doubt clouded her mind, and she hesitated. Would he even want her to approach, or was this simply an awkward coincidence? Nari, sensing the hesitation in her posture, took a deep breath, summoning the courage that had often eluded him in their previous encounters. Before he could reach her, a sudden wave of noise erupted from the crowd. A child ran past, giggling, lost in delight, accidentally bumping into Hyejin and causing a nearby vase to teeter precariously. Instinctively, Nari rushed forward and caught the vase before it could shatter, their eyes meeting again, and in that moment, the unspoken weight between them cracked open, letting a little light seep through. "I was afraid we'd left our chance behind," Hyejin admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "Me too," Nari replied, swallowing the truth of his fear with an admission that needed no clarifications. "I think I need to talk to you. To really talk." In the corner of the gallery, they found a quiet moment away from the bustle, where every emotion seemed to spill forth like an unyielding river. "I've been confronted by my family's expectations, but without you, my passion feels incomplete," he confessed. "I thought I had to choose between pursuing my career or allowing myself to love someone outside that world." Hyejin felt the power of their connection pulsing anew as the revelation made the air around them electric. "I want to push through the insecurities that haunt me, Nari," she shared, the vulnerability in her voice resonating with his own. "But I'm terrified of being hurt again. I want us to grow, but we also need to embrace our individual paths." In the fragile shadow of fear and hope, Nari took her hands in his, grounding each other in the intensity of their feelings. "We aren't bound to one another for the sake of obligation or influence. You inspire me to be better, and I believe we can find a way to root one another on, as individuals." The sincerity in his gaze quashed her fears, and she could feel the threads of their connection tightening and weaving into something richer. As they stepped out of the gallery into the evening rain, Hyejin realized that their love was neither simple nor conventional. It was a tapestry of understanding, a shared journey toward healing. Together, they committed to not just the bond that had sparked between them, but also the determination to nurture their own individual dreams. Under the soft glow of streetlights filtering through the rain, Hyejin smiled at Nari, the warmth of acceptance swelling in her heart. They walked hand in hand, prepared not only to support each other through laughter and challenges, but to explore their own identities. A world of potential lay before them, filled with love, resilience, and the promise of new beginnings. Growth often takes place where love and ambition intersect. On a chilly winter evening, the city skyline sparkled like diamonds under the starlit sky, shining down on the grand ballroom of the hotel where another gala was underway. Hyejin stood at the entrance, her heart racing with excitement and nerves. This evening marked a pivotal moment, one where she would present her initiative for uplifting orphaned children, a project born from her own experiences. With newfound confidence, she felt ready to share her voice with the world, but there was a lingering uncertainty. Would Nari come? And if he did, how would their paths cross again after so much had happened? Nari had poured his heart into his culinary creations, determined to unveil new dishes inspired not only by flavors, but also by Hyejin's unyielding optimism. He stood behind the kitchen doors in the back of the ballroom, every plate he crafted filled with emotion, an embodiment of his journey through self-discovery and vulnerability. The chefs bustled around him, but every moment felt steeped in his desire to perform well tonight, to showcase his talent, but more importantly, to find Hyejin and support her. As Hyejin took the stage, the room fell silent, the anticipation electrifying. She glanced around, spotting familiar faces, and her breath caught as she spotted Nari standing near the kitchen entrance, his presence a comforting anchor. "Tonight, I hope to share a message that resonates beyond the gala," she began, her voice steadying as she spoke. "This initiative is about celebrating the dreams of children who feel unseen. Each child deserves to feel valued and supported." The sincerity in her words wrapped around Nari, igniting a fire in his spirit as he listened intently. Her passion mirrored his own, a deep-rooted longing not only to create, but to uplift those who shared the burden of uncertainty. As she continued to speak about the importance of community and support systems for orphans, he realized how intertwined their aspirations had become. But as the applause filled the room, a pang of doubt slipped into Hyejin's heart. Could she truly match the expectations that came with sharing her dreams? Just as that thought clouded her confidence, she met Nari's eyes, and in their shared gaze, she found strength. His warm smile reassured her, urging her forward as though he were steadying her for the journey ahead. Later, as the evening progressed, Hyejin and Nari finally found a moment alone. They huddled together in a quieter nook, their hearts racing with the familiar thrill of connection. Hyejin's eyes sparkled with excitement, yet underneath lay a shroud of vulnerability. "I'm terrified, Nari. What if this project fails? What if I can't make a difference for those kids?" Nari paused, taking a moment to absorb her emotions. "You've already made a difference by simply caring, and I'll stand by you every step of the way," he replied, sincerity radiating in his voice. Yet, as the atmosphere of shared ideals shimmered like the decorations around them, an unexpected figure approached, Nari's mother, dressed in an elegant gown, radiant yet intimidating in her presence. "Nari, you should focus on your career. This is a nice distraction, but don't let her initiatives lead you astray," she said, her tone clipped, laced with concern and expectation. The air thickened with tension as Hyejin felt exposed, the weight of scrutiny now upon her. She turned to Nari, searching his expression for reassurance. He hesitated, a flurry of emotions crossing his face. "Mom, Hyejin's passion inspires me. I can't just abandon that," he stated firmly, taking a small but meaningful step toward redefining his priorities. Hyejin's heart soared, but Nari's family's disapproval loomed like a storm cloud. In this moment, Hyejin realized that their love was as much about supporting one another's growth as it was about navigating external influences. "Nari," she began, her voice low but certain, "if we're going to make this work, we need to trust each other." As the discussion unfolded, they navigated the unexpected tension. Hyejin found her voice. "I won't be the anchor that weighs you down, Nari, but I also can't put my dreams aside for fear of what others think." The room pulsed with the echo of their belief in one another, blossoming into a commitment to protect their aspirations. The moment crystallized into clarity. Both Nari and Hyejin faced a choice. Would they advance together, fostering dreams individually and intact, or would they let societal expectations consume their connection? With shared resolve, they embraced the notion that love could endure beyond chaos, as long as they both continued to grow. As the evening wound down, they exited the venue, stepping into the cool night, the fervor of the gala still igniting warmth within them. Hyejin turned to Nari, her heart racing despite the chill in the air. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, her voice soft but filled with conviction, "and for choosing to stand by me." In that moment, Nari took her hands, grounding both their hopes and fears. "Together we can face anything," he said, sincerity filling his words. Stepping confidently into an uncertain future held immense promise. It spoke of overcoming insecurities and cherishing each day that ultimately defined their love. With their intertwined hands illuminated by the city's glow, Hyejin and Nari embraced not only a shared journey, but the courage to confront whatever awaited them, emboldened by their unwavering support for one another. The story of their love was only beginning to unfold, a testament to authenticity, growth, and the beauty of connection amidst the chaos of life. Do you believe in love at first sight? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories.